Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff. Lots to talk about today. We're going to do a post game because I didn't do one yesterday. Those of you who I didn't intentionally mislead, but I just figured I'm going to have Matt on today. Early, short week because of the Commanders game coming up, and we got a couple special guests. We're going to have a couple representatives or fans from the Commanders, not representatives, but they're going to be representing the Commanders shortly. But first up, we got Matt on, of course. We're going to talk about the post game. I'll be able to give you my thoughts because you haven't heard them yet. Obviously, Matt's here, and we're going to recap that total ass whooping of the Cowboys that we all were able to watch yesterday, and then we'll get into the Commanders. Huge NFC East rival game. It's going to be here before you know it. It's only a few nights away. Amazon Prime game Thursday night, and the Eagles will be home, and so we're going to obviously dig into that too. So without any further ado, Matt. How about it's always fun when you kick the Cowboys' ass, especially when you do it on their field. So
I couldn't believe the turnovers just kept coming and coming and coming. Like we're trying to finish the game out and just be like, look, guys, just run the ball, everything will be fine. And they just kept giving the ball back to us. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Just route them into mortar and paste. Like just keep pounding them into nothing. It's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So, we got to temper expectations. They didn't have Dak, and they got a lot of injuries, but, they've always been able to first of all, we haven't won in Dallas since 2017. So, and I think Cooper Kupp beat us there one of his starts. And Cooper Rush. Thanks. I was just about to correct myself. Cooper Rush. He had like a 5-1 or 6-1 record as a starter going into that game. So he's he's not a garbage pail back there as a backup quarterback. But the Eagles, he looked terrible yesterday. He looked like he hasn't played in a while, and I think the Eagles defense has a lot to do with it. I mean, the Eagles defense, this is like, I know they have, again, there's part of me that doesn't want to get too crazy about how great they've been playing for the last 5 weeks now, because they haven't, outside of Joe Burrow and Cincinnati, who we know has got a great offense. Look what they just did the other night. I mean, that team is unbelievable, with Burrow back there and Chase. The Eagles kind of shut them down too. I mean, you didn't see Chase go off against his secondary. And you saw what he just did. Who was that? The Ravens, right? I mean, he just absolutely smoked the Ravens.
Yeah.
And he's done it twice this year to the Ravens.
Yeah. And the other rookie cornerback that I was thinking about if I were drafting for the Eagles, what's his name? Terrian. He's a Raven. Terrian. He's the Alabama kid.
Huh? Wiggins?
Not Williams.
Isn't his name Wiggins on the Ravens?
Wiggins is on the Ravens, yes, but not him. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong dude. Yeah. You're right.
You're talking about Arnold on Detroit, who's like Detroit. Mr.
Never mind. I got the wrong guys. I got them mixed up. But right. Jamar Chase goes off against Ravens always have a good defense. They never seem to not pay attention to it. So they can't handle Chase. And Quenya Mitchell just doesn't have a problem handling all of the top guys on the other team. And Cooper DeJean, again, he's an amazing addition to this team. He's like the key cog. Him and Mitchell both.
Just three guys on defense stood out all year. Mitchell, Deshaun's, I can't say all year because he's only been back for, Deshaun's only been there for 3 weeks now, or maybe this is fourth week. But Zach Bond is the other guy we're definitely going to talk about.
Bond. So when have you taken a weakness? So those three guys play at the greatest weakness that the Eagles had last year. And so they completely took their biggest weakness and turned it into their biggest strength in 1 year with all these young guys. It's crazy. What a good job they did with the coaching and with the offseason pickups with that. So those guys just are getting more impressive every week. Fun to watch.
Yeah, you got to give Fangio credit too. I mean, he's the one that's put this defense together, and he's playing his guys. That's why you don't see Huff out there much, because he just doesn't like Huff. Like, I don't know if they consulted with Vic much during the free agency period before they made that trade. Was he an Eagle? Was he already a coach when they brought Huff in? He was, right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, so he's clearly not a fan. I don't know if he's not a fan of the player because he just doesn't like his attributes, or he just doesn't like the way the guy's not doing much. Maybe it's a combination of both. But either way, the Eagles are playing well enough without having him. It just sucks that the guy's sucking up so much salary cap when he's the guy the Eagles are hardly even using. He's not even on the field that much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple pressures yesterday, but Jalen Carter also was a beast yesterday, and they had no for him. So, like, no answer for Jalen Carter.
He's when he turns it on, dude, he's unblockable. He is Jerome Brown like when he decides to show up. That's for the next step for Carter, and I think we talked about it earlier in the season. He just needs to be more consistent and bring that every single game. Now he's still young, so I'm not trying to say that he's like lazy or anything. Not saying that. Still young. Takes some time for guys to just be able to, stamina wise. Last year, of course, coming off right out of college season, they don't have much of a break. They're right back right into the NFL, and they have to play the whole rookie year, 16 games. Fortunately, they had Fletcher Cox last year where he didn't have to play every single down. Now he's playing every single down. He's almost in there every play now. So that takes a toll. Get your body getting used to that. I think next year's the year. I think you'll start seeing Jalen Carter, take over this league as probably the best defensive tackle in the league. He's got that ability.
Did you see him goat the guy into the flag?
I didn't know. What was that?
He must have said something, but the old lineman pushes him right over, and the ref's standing right there.
Yeah.
And not Collinsworth, but the two broadcasters were like, didn't know Jalen Carter was so easily pushed over. Like, yeah, I know, right? You'd think it'd be a little bit more tougher than that to push Jalen Carter over, but the lineman shoves him, and he just goes like, whoa, and he just completely loses it, and the ref's right there. He throws the flag, 15 minutes for unnecessary roughness. I'm like, dude, this guy has got so much JB in him for just getting under the other team's skin and smiling all the way through it and waiting for them to just kind of lose their cool. So it was kind of neat to see yesterday. But
I saw that play when it was either 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. And Dallas went for it. Maybe it was not 4th and 1, but you see Jalen do his move where he just takes the guy and just throws him, and then he's right there for he's super strong.
Yeah, and
he's just quick. Yeah, he's very quick. So, good to see out of Carter. I mean, there's not much to, I'm going through my thumbs down now for the third straight week, trying to, we'll get to that segment in a moment, but it's hard for me to even pick any thumbs down, which is always a good thing. I mean, I'd rather not have any guys on there, but just another game where I'm like reaching to find somebody that's a thumbs down.
Jalen early was thumbs down.
Yeah.
Jalen hurts.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. He was.
But at the same time, that's what makes him special. Like he has an easy way of moving past that stuff.
Yeah.
And getting refocused and just, he hits that perfect bomb to AJ early in the second half.
Yeah.
And like, here we go. Here comes the freaking train. And you're not gonna be able to stop it when he's on. So I think I did see when he gave up the fumble, he came back to the sideline and thanked all of the defense for getting us off the field. And was like, my bad. Thanks for saving me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Hurts because I got to tell you some of the – I mean, some Eagle fans, we know this is because we've been Eagle fans for a long time. I guess I might as well talk about it now, so bring it up. So I go on one of these Eagles message boards, and I just, because they're all – one guy's like, Hurts MVP. I think that's what his thing was. And I'm like – again, I'm not a Hurts hater, but of course, the comment that I wrote, I get the next 10 responses are, oh, you're just a Hurts hater. I have never once, and I have a track record, of course. They don't realize that I have a podcast and everything that goes back 2 years or whatever. I've never once said I hated Hurts, wanted to bench Hurts, wanted someone else to start over Hurts. That's what a hater would be, which I've done many times as an Eagles fan with I don't think they're starting the right quarterback. Not once have I ever said that. I'm just critical of him because I know the guy can be better. And I've seen him be better. That's the part that's frustrating. And sometimes he resorts back to old habits and stuff I've talked about and beat a dead horse over. The guys have been listening to me for a long time. Certainly, you know what I'm talking about. And he was doing it again yesterday. He was leaving the pocket too soon, phantom pressure, mostly in the first quarter. Definitely got better as the game went on. But it's like if you want to talk about MVP and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, this is stuff. It's year 5 now. It's his 5th year. Yeah. You got to be doing it. You can't be doing the same stuff 5 years in. You got to eventually figure this out and start working the pocket. And the thing is, second half, there were plays when he was working the pocket. And, through the touchdown pass to Goddard and a touchdown pass to Mitchell. Or not Mitchell. Yeah, was it Mitchell? Johnny Mitchell? Is that his name?
Johnny Mitchell, the rookie, gets his first score.
Both of those, like, navigate, stepped up, and threw those touchdown passes. I'm like, Jalen, just do that all the time.
Yeah.
Now,
well, I think that comes down to coaching. He didn't have the coach last year that said, "Yo, come here, you, like Tom Hanks and like League of Their Own, like you, come here, let's talk." He didn't have that last year, and I think he's got it this year. We're like, "Yo, dude, you can't be doing that." We just talked about that last week. You gotta work, move up the middle. Can't be scrambling out. Can't be feeling fake pressure. Like you have guys that are gonna win their battles one-on-one. So stay patient. Let the game come to you and stop hero ball it. I think he gets corrected on it right now, and that's why you see him on quicker.
Okay. Well, the thing is, unlike some other, like Joe Burrow doesn't have nearly the offensive line Hurts has, and he's got one ridiculously amazing wide receiver. This other guy wasn't even playing the other night. The guy threw 5 touchdowns, almost 400 yards, over 400 yards.
Yeah,
that's the difference between Jalen Hurts and a guy like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a guy that I put in the elite quarterback stats. He's doing it with a crappy line and one wide receiver. He doesn't have nearly the talent around him that Hurts had. So, and I'm not trying to knock Hurts. I'm just saying, stop this MVP type stuff. I mean, he's got to do, plus a lot of his touchdowns are always the tush push runs for 1 yard. That drives me nuts too. Oh, well, he had 4 touchdowns yesterday. Yeah, again, he has a lot of rushing touchdowns because of the 1 yard that they continue to refuse to give to Barkley. So I'm like, I just point that stuff out, and I'm like, I'm a Hurts hater and this and that. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like,
nobody can take criticism on social media anymore, so it's like, I don't even listen to that stuff.
I rarely go on to those things, or at least I don't say I rarely. I look at it, but I made a comment finally, and I got jumped on by like 5 fans like immediately. Listen, I'm just a hater.
Different age.
I'm like, I'm not just a hater. I've been watching football for probably, exactly, much longer than you were born. Probably more than your parents too. Yeah, unfortunately, because I'm getting old. All right. So anyway, sorry to go off on that tangent, but so we both were very close on our predictions. I don't know if you remembered what you predicted, but you were both pretty much right there. We actually both gave the Cowboys more points than they got, but you were close.
The same score, right? 28-13 or something like that.
You had 31-10.
Oh,
so
really...
you were off by 3 points for the Eagles and 4 points for Cowboys. Fantastic job. I had 37-16.
Yeah.
I gave Dallas a few more extra.
Yeah, both dominant, right?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we both had landslide wins, and that's what happened. So yeah, let's get back to what I want to talk about here. All right, I'm done with that one. So getting into I guess just some overall. Do you have any overall points about the game you want to make before we get into thumbs up, thumbs down?
The Eagles did what they were expected to do, and the Cowboys lived up to their expectations as well. So, Micah Parsons is still a beast, so he had some impact early in the game, and then we took care of that impact no problem. So Fred Johnson, again, he gets beat early, but that offensive line had no trouble after those first couple pressures from Parsons, and they had an answer for him. Barkley didn't have his best day, but he still is able to move the pile and get first downs. He didn't score a lot of points, but he was getting 7, 8, 9 yards per carry. Especially in that second half. He didn't do much in the first half, but the second half he's able, and they mentioned it on the broadcast, he's just able to just mash them. So, again, no turnovers and run the ball, and we can win every game, and it shouldn't be all that difficult.
Yeah, I thought he did really well receiving the ball, too. He had a couple really nice plays. The one where he took it 12 or 13 yards down to the 1 yard line before the push put was a really good play by him, making people miss tackles. And I mean, he's a guy. He's one of the few running backs in the league. There's Derrick Henry and probably him. Maybe those are the only two I think of off the top of my head. That when they have the ball, those D-backs don't have anything to do to tackle him at all.
No.
And you will see that. Even what's his name got totally plowed over by Hurts the other day.
Yeah.
Isn't he their safety too, Lewis? He got trucked.
Yeah, Rich ran him right over on the way.
Right over. Yeah, that guy had nothing for him either. He just woke up he just got up off he didn't talk any. He just like, man, I just got.
Yeah, he's like, yep.
Yeah, he just got up I mean, that team is. I mean, for us, it's entertaining to see, but there's just no fight in a Dallas team. These past years, if they're struggling or had a backup quarterback in, there'd still be some fight in that team.
Yeah,
that team is listless. There's a lot of problems with that team. You can just tell. Even CeeDee Lamb, bad body language. He's a great player. CeeDee Lamb is one of the best receivers in the league. I got to give him credit. But his body language is terrible, too.
Not very resilient. There's not much resilience on that team. Even Parsons, when they start losing, he starts mouthing and starts throwing people under the bus a little bit. So it's like, I don't, that's not the way we were raised through sports. You just play until the final whistle.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like, you're on that field earning that money, so you're going to play.
Right, especially how much these guys get paid. Yeah. So I don't know. CeeDee Lamb I know he's a great player. It's hard for me to knock him because I respect that guy a lot. I think he's one of the best receivers in the league, but he had some bad body language, I thought, yesterday. But let's we'll get to the thumbs up. I'll actually, I think I went first last show, so I'll let you. Who's your first thumbs up for the game?
It's hard not to go with the defensive backs, but I'm sure that's on your radar. I think Jalen Carter had a huge impact all game long, so I'll go with Jalen Carter number 1. Okay.
Yeah, you talked about him earlier. Carter continues to. He is becoming more consistent too this year. So I didn't want to say that I'm not seeing it. I just think that for him to bring his game to the next level, he just needs to do it game in and game out. And I think now, again, for the last few weeks, he's been pretty consistent. He's been pretty good making an impact. And he's just got to keep it up. So, yeah, I guess I'll take the I didn't know we're on the same page here. I'll take the D-backs because I thought Mitchell was, again, phenomenal. It's amazing how this guy – you look at the lineage of receivers he's facing, they're all top 10, top 15 wide receivers in the league almost every single week. He's playing one guy. And I know him and Slay share responsibility, but there's a lot of times when he's up against a CeeDee Lamb or Chase or, get Neighbors and the Giants and, have McLaren this week, I'm sure, against the Commanders. And he shuts them down.
They can't do much against him. No, he's perfect in positioning, right? And that was what Howie was bragging about when he drafted him. They're like, this guy knows how to play cornerback, and he's a good tackler on top of that. He hasn't gotten his first interception yet, but that's going to come because he's sticking on these guys like glue. Even the pass, it wasn't against CeeDee Lamb, but the coverage against the deep ball that was down the left sideline.
Yeah.
And he just forced the guy out of bounds. Yeah.
Yeah. He knows
for the ball
where he's supposed to be. He's got good situational field awareness.
Yep. And he moves this. I was watching Baldy break down his foot movement today, and he does this. He's never out of position to run and stick. And when somebody makes a move or a cut, he's right there with it. Like, he does not get fooled very often. And I think the receivers are the wideouts are just kind of surprised at how much of a cover guy he is. He's on him, like stick him. So yeah, he's amazing to watch. And Cooper DeJean, in a different kind of style, is just as important in the middle, doing all sorts of things. But both of them are good tacklers, and it showed again.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm thinking the guy's a rookie cornerback, and we're in week 10 now. Have you seen him be beaten?
No.
No,
and I'm sure it's coming
on a play.
Yeah, I'm sure it's coming, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he is, like you said, he's faced a good pedigree so far, and there's a couple good teams left on the radar. We're going to play the Rams in a couple weeks. We got McLaurin this week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when we have Johnny on. But boy, do the Commanders miss not having anybody but McLaurin on their wideouts, because they should have won that game. But they were dropping passes, two key drop passes for the Commanders. And I'm like, the folks that Mitchell shutting down, they're not guys that miss balls. Like, he's making the play. He's making the impact every time the balls go out there. So,
yeah, so impressive. And then, like you said, is he going to be beat at some point this year? I'm sure. I mean, the guy's a rookie. I mean, you can't expect him to be practically flawless. But his positioning's good. The ball dinger breakdown, I saw the same thing. It's he just doesn't get out of position. And the thing is, where a lot of quarterbacks gets beat, especially like Slay, for example, if they do those quick little comebacks, Those are the ones where Slay, I don't, it's probably because he's older now. He just doesn't have the quick enough step to get on the guy before the pass. Mitchell is able to. Like, he'll dig his foot in and quickly come back on the cutback by the wide receiver and get there and make the play on the ball.
Yeah. And as he gets more and more experience, those are going to be interceptions.
Yes. Yeah, he'll get more confident. Right now, he's probably still feeling some things out and just using his natural ability. But, yeah, eventually he's going to be able to diagnose, and that's when he's going to become, hopefully an elite corner. But it's just impressive. And then Dejean, I don't know if I pronounce him Dejean or Dejean, but whatever. Cooper, again, just great tackler. He doesn't also get smoked.
He's a great tackler, too.
Yeah, he had a nice return. It's going to be interesting to see when Covey comes back, because Covey is due back pretty soon, I think. Probably in a couple weeks. You'll probably see him be ready to return. Right now, he'd take up a roster spot. So it's like, do you bring Covey back when that's really all he does? Although he did do some things as a third wideout this year. He's getting better at that. But who do you take off the roster when you activate Covey? That's going to be an interesting discussion.
Who are you saying? Covey?
Yeah, Covey.
Who's Covey?
Our kickoff punt return guy.
I didn't even need him. I would just leave to John. I don't even know what you're talking about. Covey?
His Covey, our kick returner.
Oh, Covey. Covey. Yeah.
What do you think I was saying?
No, I see. That's where I'm at. Dejean has made me totally forget about Covey because we don't need him.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, is it worth bringing him back now when you have Dejean, who does a pretty good job, as the kickoff?
It is just to keep Dejean healthy. So, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, at least you keep him out there.
I totally forgot about him.
You didn't remember his name. You're like, who the hell are you talking about?
I don't even know. Yeah.
I'm going to spell it for you next.
I may have had COVID recently. Who knows? I don't, short-term fog going on here. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah.
That's all right. So, yeah. But he's a good returner, though. That's the thing. It's like, but then again, this is why I brought it up. The Eagles going to have to figure out, well, if we do bring him back, who do you take off the roster, for the game day?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Right now, it's not a problem, but he's due back soon. I mean, I think he separated his shoulder or something. So it was like initially 5 or 6 weeks. So we're getting close to that. All right. So next thumbs up for you.
Well, AJ and Smith are just always there, but I think the offensive line being able to handle Parsons and not make Parsons have a dominant impact the entire game, right? So a couple of plays that defensive line from Dallas were able to make, but then the Eagles line kind of recovered there. So I'll give a thumbs up to the Eagles O-line again, and just always giving the Eagles a chance to play well.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were going to take Bond, but I'll take
Bond. Had an awesome game. I'll leave him for you.
Bond the guy is absolutely unbelievable. Because now we're on a stretch where he's doing it every single game. We're talking about consistency with Jalen Carter. This guy, every game, leads the Eagles in tackles, is making tackles for loss, good in coverage, and he's now causing fumbles and turnovers and getting recoveries.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more out of this guy. I mean, it's amazing. We talked about, we were going back and forth and texting. The Saints are like the next pipeline for the Eagles too. It's like whoever is on their like fringe list, the Eagles just seem to bring over here, and they end up being studs. We talked Sproles. I mean, not that Jenkins wasn't a star. I mean, Jenkins obviously was, but they picked him up from the Saints. You got Bond now. You got other guys like Boston Scott. He's probably the biggest or maybe the best example of a guy who was on their practice squad. He wasn't even on it, and he came over here and had a productive career. This Bond guy, I mean, his agent's got to be like cha-ching, cha-ching with each passing game, because you want all the Eagle fans are screaming, and rightfully so, for Howie to sign him right now long term, because he's only here on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
And his agent's got to be like, let's see, he's top 3 in tackles. He's top 5 in turnovers.
Making impact plays, right?
Tackles for loss. Guys, he's doing everything.
Yeah.
So he's going to be expensive, and it's going to be one of those things where is he going to be another Who's the guy that went to the Bears?
Edwards.
Edwards. Now he was homegrown. The Eagles actually got him in here, but he's not going to be cheap now. Bond's not going to be, a cheap signing. But hopefully he would give the Eagles a little bit of a hometown discount because they did. He's the reason, or the Eagles are the reason why he's been able to play and show what he can do. The Saints never gave him a chance, really. So you hope to get a little bit of a discount. But bottom line is, Eagles need to sign this guy. I don't see how they can let him go. I know this is like a discussion for off season. I'm just trying to make a point that the Eagles need to keep him, because he's so damn good. So yeah, Zach Bond, thumbs up. You got any more thumbs up?
No, that's about it. Thumbs up for the coaching staff for not making any stupid decisions. How about that?
That's true. It's easier not to make stupid decisions in a blowout, though.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, when the games are on the line, I'm still skittish about Sirianni's decision making.
He also could have let his players play the game a little bit longer, and he pulled them all. So smart decision.
Well, that was smart. Yep, that was good. Yep. That was very smart to do. And obviously, we talked about it in the preview for the game, that in an ideal situation, we wanted the Eagles to blow them out and be able to rest their starters in the fourth quarter. That's exactly what they were able to do. So that helps out. It's going to help out Thursday night because the Commanders didn't have that luxury. They played tooth and nail in their game all the way down to the last minute, literally. So, the Eagles were able to rest their guys. I think Barkley, in particular, only had like 14 carries. So he kind of, he compared to what he's been doing previous weeks, that was kind of like a half day's work for him. So, yeah, they're going to be in better shape. I mean, I was speaking of Johnny, he's going to be on here pretty soon, but I was texting him during the week too, and we're like, he's like, yeah, it's going to be a huge advantage on Thursday night, because you guys are going to be home. And I'm like, typically, yeah, I agree with you. On a short week, whoever the home team is going to have the advantage. But I'm like, not in this case. Not when you're talking about Washington and Philly, because it's just a 2-hour bus ride or 3, whatever it is. It's not like they're flying all the way across country to play the Eagles, where it'd be a much bigger home field advantage.
But Commanders fans haven't even showed up at their home game. Did you see how many Steelers fans were in the crowd yesterday?
I didn't watch much of the game, so I was hoping to, so I could talk more about it. But knowing that we're going to have Johnny and Evan on, I figured they'd be able to handle the Washington side of things. So I didn't watch any of that game.
They were loud and proud. And I was like, they were talking about it today on Misery Monday. Yeah, they were like, what the heck? Like, I guess the Commanders fans either all bought their tickets late because they didn't know what they had. And how Steelers were able to get all their hands on all these tickets. So I don't think the Commanders are traveling up to Philly at all. That'll be a big home field advantage.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the fan dispersion. I'm just talking about the advantage of, typically in a short week having to, have a Thursday night game, that there's one huge advantage of the other. In this case, I don't see that because they're not flying across country in a short week.
Right.
That's when it really becomes a huge advantage for the away team. When you have a few-hour bus ride up the turnpike, it's not a huge advantage in that sense. But yeah, I'm not talking about the fans, showing up and everything. But Johnny will be on here shortly, so we got a couple Commander fans be coming on here momentarily as they're both in the green room. So we'll be bringing them on shortly. Just be patient, guys. We're wrapping things up here. So let's go to thumbs down then. Do you have any thumbs down for the game?
Jalen Hurts,
you have a thumbs down at him?
Yeah, because you can't. If luckily he recovered, but he's giving away these free points early. And I'm like, you just can't give away free points. Like, so let's chill. Now, like I said, he did turn it around, but I don't want to see that. I want to come out and see good, smart football all the time. And it seemed like he was making some ill decisions, kind of feeling the pressure and scrambling a little bit too quick, and then not going where and not trusting his instincts, But that was early. That was very early. He ended up turning it around. And so, I could almost give him a thumbs up after I give him my thumbs down. But that's about it. Otherwise, the offense was pretty much flawless.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it was hard for me to reach for any thumbs down guys. I have Hurts and I don't do this often, I put him like a medium, like not thumbs up, not thumbs down. Occasionally, I'll mark a player that way. And that's where I was with Hurts this week. Overall, his numbers look good. But again, that first quarter, I think he struggled. He's still doing the stuff in the pocket we talked about earlier. And the recklessness with the fumbles is what bothers me probably the most right now with Hurts. He's just careless with the football. And he was doing well over the last few weeks. But he just when he's in the pocket and the ball comes out of his hands just so easily. And it's because he's always doing the one-handed, he's always doing the one-handed thing. Yep. And, that's something that, again, as a veteran, he needs to protect the ball more when the pocket tightens up, So that's it. I mean, I don't really have a lot of I didn't actually have anybody down for thumbs down. The only thing I'll probably say is, again, the tush push in the 1 yard line at first down is stupid. I'm sick of it.
Run Barkley. Please run Barkley.
Yeah. That's the only thing. All right. So without any further ado, it's time now to talk about the upcoming divisional battle between the Commanders and the Eagles. First place on the line. Let's bring in our two guests here. Welcome, boys.
How are you guys? How we doing?
Hey guys.
Did you guys what'd you dig out there, Johnny? I see a
I went old school.
They're representing.
They're hot. They're selling.
Yeah. I went to the non-PC old school original logo.
As longtime fans, that's where we remember that team by.
Yes.
I mean,
Still waiting to get that Daniels jersey in black once they put it on Fanatics.
Fantastic. All right. Well, welcome to the show. Those of you who have been with us since the audio podcast days, you'll recognize Johnny. The YouTube audience is still getting used to or meeting Johnny for the first time. Johnny's been a long-time Commanders fan. And but new to the program today is Evan, who's also figured why not bring a couple? We're talking about first place on the line Thursday night. Let's have a couple Commander fans on and join us as we talk about the upcoming battle here. First off, we'll start with you, Johnny. Give us your because I know you were kind of down in the dumps, and I was actually trying to pick you up yesterday for the loss. Matt talked about it a little bit before you guys came on. He was alluding to the how you guys should have won, and I remember you saying you just gave the game away. I didn't watch any of that game, so I was just Matt did watch it. But from your perspective, it seems like it was a game that you let go, let slide. Or let get away from you, I guess. Should have won, could have won, one of those. So what's your take on the game, and are you feeling a little bit better than you were yesterday?
Yes and yes. My initial thoughts were that's one we gave away, a game that we really should have won. Too many mistakes, just not focused as well as we had been, not playing as well. Jaden didn't play as well, quarterback. It was disappointing. I mean, it really was. For the first 2 hours after the game yesterday, as you know, as I texted you, I was pretty despondent about the whole thing. I felt like that was one that was given away, and you don't get too many chances to beat another quality team when you give plays away the way that they did.
Yeah. See, what I would say to that is, I told you how I could relate to that because early in the season, the Eagles gave away the game to Atlanta.
Right.
If Barkley catches a ball that you catch 100,000 times out of 100,000 at one time, Eagles win that game. But that one, unlike your game, I'm not trying to minimize it. I guess, well, maybe I am a little bit. At least that was an AFC team.
Right.
Where it comes down to tiebreakers or whatnot. Like the Eagles, if it ever comes down to a tiebreaker versus the Falcons at the end of the season, they're going to lose that tiebreaker because of that game that they gave away.
Right. Now, Washington also does play Atlanta in a few weeks also. So we're going to have, and as you also mentioned, you get your shot at the Ravens and the Steelers, who are the two of our three losses.
Yep.
So it's really looks like it's going to come down to the rest of your games. You're going to win. I mean, really, you're going to beat the Panthers. You're going to beat the Dallas again. You're going to beat the Giants again.
Right.
And I'm sure I'm forgetting one, but there's 4 games that are really going to decide this thing. Your 2 games against the Ravens and the Steelers, and the 2 games against us, and our 2 games against you. And I know our game against Atlanta for sure. And I know there's probably at least one more.
Titans, Saints.
Yeah. Saints, right?
Oh, Saints.
And
That's
they're
easy.
looking more dangerous now after the win against Atlanta yesterday.
Right.
I was actually in Atlanta yesterday in a sports bar watching simultaneously Falcons Saints and trying too hard not to yell too loud when the Saints were winning, and to avoid getting my butt kicked on the way out the door in the sports bar in the ATL. But I was also watching the Washington Pittsburgh game, of course.
Sure.
It was,
So let me ask you guys this, and Evan, feel free to chime in here too. So what Matt made a point about how there was so many. It was a home game for Washington, right? Yesterday.
right.
And there was a ton of Steeler fans there. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead.
It might have been our little trying to bring out the red towels to combat it, and then the Steelers fans aren't having none of that.
They brought their own towels.
They brought their, what do they call those? The hankies?
I would say
terrible
towels, I think.
I mean, they're probably the #1 traveling team, I would probably say.
They are.
If you guys
between them and the Eagle fans. Eagle fans are very good traveling
it's
teams.
not,
Mhm.
Steelers fans definitely do travel well. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the four of us all went to the Philly at Washington year before last in 22, which was a Taylor Heineke game, wasn't it? I think so.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was Wentz.
game.
Sorry, no, that was Wentz. And it was at least 60-40 Eagles, maybe 65-35, and we all saw that.
Yeah.
From what I hear, I haven't been there this year yet, but
We ended up taking off.
Like, you guys are a pretty good team now, and the fans are still not showing up apparently.
right.
Well, I don't know.
I think you could probably chalk that up to the schedule was announced in May.
Yeah.
Washington fans have been beaten down for 2 decades plus.
True.
And really, we didn't know what we had in Daniels as a QB and some legitimate hope for a good future.
Yep.
The guys that have season tickets, that's one that they could put on StubHub all day long. And the Steelers fans, Pittsburgh's only 4.5 hours from DC. That's not unreasonable. They snapped up the tickets from the fans that were willing to give up that seat and pocket some money. And now looking back on it, it made a difference. There were it was from what I've heard from the Washington podcast and things that I've listened to, it was at least 60-40 Pittsburgh yesterday, maybe even more.
That's what Matt was saying.
You've got to win. You've got to win consistently for a few years to get the fans to keep their tickets and go to the games. I mean, that's
in a game like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. When the tickets go on sale, you guys had no idea, number one, how good Daniels was going to be.
Right.
And you're coming off a bad season.
Coming off of another miserable season.
Right. So that you might see another Eagle fan situation too in their game.
Oh, I know. Yes, I do. Fortunately, I guess, or whatever, unfortunately, that is next to the last game of the season. So, I mean, if Philly fans swooped in on StubHub as soon as the schedule was announced and bought their share, then I guess good for them. Hopefully the fans that have now realized that we've got a good thing going this year and some optimism and hope that they won't sell those tickets, but some of them may have already sold them and it may be too late.
Possible.
So. Next year, you guys will be through prove it mode, which is
right. Exactly. Right.
So they'll be back. Yeah,
I do. I think so too. I mean, I do think that there's enough good fans that remember what it used to be like that they want to get back to that, and having the franchise QB is 90% of that. I mean, you can't win consistently without it. We've proven that through the Heineke's and Wentz's and Sam Howell's and Matt Ryan's, blah blah blah. Your old cast off McNabb. I could go through a litany of our garbage quarterbacks that we've had for 2 decades plus, but it seems like we found the guy this year, and that's
It certainly looks that way. He's definitely been impressive, I think, throughout the league. And as an opposing fan, we're not liking as well as he's looking right now. But it's good for Washington at the same time. You guys have been, in the doldrums for a long time. You just mentioned a lineage of quarterbacks that you've gone through for over a decade now, and so it's a lot to be excited for. And that's why I was kind of trying to give you a little boost yesterday, because I'm like, dude,
I know.
still.
And the more I think about the loss yesterday, I'm off the ledge a little bit.
I was kind of getting a barrage of texts after that game.
Yeah.
And I thought you were overacting a little bit.
Me?
But I was kind of on the same page for a little while.
Yeah, there's always raw emotion right after the game anyway.
It was deflating the
It
way
was
that
just
it
too
happened.
many mistakes to have any optimism after the game.
Sure. Yeah, it's tough. Well, so talk about the game a little bit. Matt mentioned, because again, I didn't see any of it. He said there was a couple of key drops late in the game.
Two key.
And I think I saw some guy go off sides or something. Was it there also a critical play where the guy?
I mean, that was a play that, you could toss it up as saying that the rookie who jumped off sides 4th and 1 kind of sold the game. But, we wouldn't have been in that situation if we played like how we have been.
Yeah.
But it was rookie Johnny Newton who jumped off sides. Well, I will say it was probably the most obvious, get up to the line, we're going to hard count.
Yeah.
And Wilson's a veteran guy who's done that before. But
Yeah.
I feel
Actually,
bad.
I have to say I'm impressed with Russ coming back this year. I thought he was washed completely out. I thought he was done, and I was surprised Pittsburgh even picked him up. And
they were winning games
started
with Justin Fields, and then decided to put Russ in, and now they're 3-0, I think, with him.
They are.
Yeah. Now
Russ can still sling it.
Mm-hmm.
He threw. And the first touchdown to Pickens made an amazing catch.
Excellent play.
Yeah. Oh, I saw that.
And
I
then
did see
Mike,
that.
and then the
Mike Williams throw.
Yeah,
he's off his back foot. That's a great throw.
Yeah,
and obviously St. Juice, dude.
And they just signed Mike Williams 3 days ago.
Yeah,
St. Juice, we need to get him off the field, and we made a move that should do that. Hopefully.
See, I don't want to throw salt in the wound, but the name that was in my head when I saw the ball bounce off the Commander's receiver's chest in the end zone, and then the one that would have kept the drive alive, I'm like, would Jahan Dotson have made a difference right there?
I don't know.
I think he would have.
He made a few drops to lose some games last year. Where he put us in a way better position.
Actually true. But yeah, we'll take Miami's 3rd round pick, which is looking better and better every time they lose. So
well, actually, they're playing right now. I'm not sure the score. I wouldn't mind if they lose.
Yeah,
we're not pulling for Miami right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
and Eagles have not squeezed a lot out of Dotson either. They've thrown him more recent games, and he's catching everything they're throwing to him. He's made some tough catches too, but they're not using him to the extent of giving up a 3rd round pick for him. I wish they would incorporate him into the offense a little more than they have, honestly.
I'm sure it's a little more of the behind the scene work where, he's running a route and getting AJ Brown open or something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you guys think about the Zach Ertz spot on his last catch of the game? That's tough, isn't it?
It was a bad spot.
I was like, if that was the Kansas City Chiefs game, they would have given them the spot and they would have had the first down.
And that's Travis Kelce. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think it was the initial spot. I think if they would have gave him maybe another 2 feet, and then it would probably have been measured, and probably they would have looked at that replay a few more times. Because I thought when he initially caught it that he was over, and he didn't know that, so he tried to kind of turn it in.
Yeah, he was at least on it. If he was over or not, that could be debatable, but it looked like he was at least there. And then
he was to the yellow line. Now, obviously the yellow line is unofficial, but he looked like he did look like he got it.
And that spot was nowhere near.
No, they walked it back a good half yard.
At least a half yard. Yeah, he may not have gotten it, but they spotted it way wrong. A half a yard at least wrong.
And that was inside 2 minutes. So we couldn't even try to challenge that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
was just going to ask, knowing that I didn't watch the game, but
Right.
I was just going to say, did it not challenge it? So it was inside of 2 minutes. So
It was.
the league would have had to
It's a
challenge
booth,
it, right?
it's a booth challenge
It's been under
already.
review, like,
Yeah, they did
very
review it,
briefly,
Jeff.
but
Oh,
it
they
was-
did.
it was-
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think there was enough. There wasn't enough to overturn the call on the
Right,
field
but-
and the spot on the field, but the spot on the field was bad.
Wow. Yeah, it
The
was,
spot on the field was at least a half yard short of what it would have been. Would it have been enough? Maybe.
Okay.
I think what made that made the offsides at the end just way more bitter because
Yes.
we had it, we were there, and we somehow gave ourselves a chance to get ourselves back in the game, and then we blew it again, and that's
That
what
made
really-
it more. Yeah, in the initial aftermath when I was texting you, Jeff, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Really upset. I was just really mad about.
Gotcha.
that.
What were the
And we
two-
really blew it twice, or the rest blew it for us once, and then our guy jumped off sides, and there was no. I mean, I don't think there was any way that Russ was actually going to snap the ball. They would have punted.
yeah.
Now we were out of timeouts. We would have gotten the ball with 50-ish seconds left.
Yep.
And we'd had to get in field goal range. I'd take my chances on that. I've seen Daniels run a 2 minute. I've seen him run quite a few 2 minutes. And could we get 30 yards and get in? Yeah, I think we could have.
Sure.
I really do. That's
So
what made it. We didn't even get the chance to do it.
So that Hurts play you're alluding to, that was the play just before the 4th and 1 where the guy jumped off sides?
Correct.
That was the next series, right? So they
So
Oh yeah, no, that's right.
Hurts
Okay.
got stopped on the fourth down try. They lose the possession there, and on the series coming back,
it was 3
had
runs.
Steelers ready to punt, and
Right.
that's
Correct. Yeah, they got him to fourth. They
First
got him
play
to
was-
4th and 1
Okay.
at the 40 whatever yard line. I mean, even if Tomlin has guts, but I mean that would have been insanity for him to actually run that play.
I think if the game
If
was
they don't.
more,
I mean, if you get the yard, the game's over. But if you don't, we're 5 yards away from being in field goal range to be already. Like it would have been. I mean, it would have been 90%. 90% of anybody would have punted right there.
Right.
And they came up to the line fast, and we've got a lot of young guys, including rookie Johnny Newton, 2nd-round draft pick D tackle, that he took the bait and he was all excited and he jumped. I mean, it was obvious as could be.
that's kind of one of those.
Russ knew it immediately. He started dancing around. I mean, he knew he got him, and he did.
It's one of those times we wish that Allen wasn't hurt, because I guarantee you he's not gonna make that play.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen, our all pro, Pro Bowl, D lineman, is out for the season, and that's his rookie backup is the one who jumped, which hurts even more because Allen, even through the crap years we've had in the past 5 years, he's been one of the 2 or 3 best players on the team, and he's now out for the season with a pec injury or triceps or whatever, something. And his backup, the new rookie, is the one
He's
that
been playing well, though, I will
which
say.
stings even more.
Really interesting though about the Steelers, just real quick, is that I wondered why, because they don't. Russell Wilson's not their quarterback of the future, right? He's in his late stages of his career, and they had they had Fields out there who was playing well. I think he only had. What was their record when they turned it back over to Wilson? They were
4-2.
4-2, yeah.
So, and he's a young guy that they potentially might have found something in. And then they brought Wilson in, and I'm thinking at the time I was scratching my head. I'm like, why would you do that? Just let the kid play and have Wilson as a backup in case you need him. But it's games like yesterday where you see why they went to Wilson, because who can, first of all, the throw to Pickens.
Yep.
Fields isn't making that throw.
No.
Now, it was a great catch also by Pickens.
And the throw to Mike Williams, I think, was the more impressive one to me.
Yeah.
The throw to Williams.
He dropped it in the basket.
Moonball. Yeah.
And then being the veteran and having the cadence at the end of the game, like when your guy jumped off sides, he might have had something to do with that too. I mean, he's a vet. He just knows how to draw those penalties. So I just figured I'd add that in there about the Steelers.
I think you're right.
They're obviously a good team too. So as tough of a loss it is, the Steelers are a good team. It's not like they lost to some.
We didn't lose to the Giants,
right, who lost to the Panthers,
right, in Germany, no less. And actually, where I was in Atlanta visiting my best friend who I grew up with in Charlotte, who's still diehard Panthers. So we watched that game before we went to the sports bar to watch the Washington-Pittsburgh game. So he at least had something to smile about, which was good.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, good for him.
And we all love watching the Giants lose no matter what. So that softened the bit a little bit at the end.
But the Panthers are so bad, you have to try to lose to them, and somehow the Giants figured out.
My bold prediction is that the Panthers are going to beat Dallas. I think they play them in 3 weeks.
That'll be hilarious.
I'll tell you what, Bryce Young has not looked that bad.
He hasn't.
Come back in. Yeah. He's definitely learned from sitting on the bench and not having all that pressure on him because he's making more plays than he used to. And that Giants defense isn't terrible.
Right, exactly. No, they're definitely
especially their defensive line.
Yeah,
right. They were recently. I mean, when Eagles played them, they were leading the NFL in sacks. I don't know if they still lead.
They still are. Yeah, they still are. As of early yesterday, they still were. After yesterday's games, maybe not, because I don't think they got Bryce, but maybe once yesterday.
Yeah.
And they didn't get Daniels, I don't think at all last weekend.
Yeah, they did not. That's right. Last week they did not.
So do you two have neither one of you have a little bit of a take on the Eagles Cowboys game yesterday? Any thoughts on that before we get into our game?
I didn't watch it, but I saw the score beat down.
Yeah.
I was in the airport and waiting for my flight and saw bits and pieces, but not enough to really say. I do know that at one point though it was 7-3. Dallas was driving and could have gone up 10-7. Obviously they didn't. Next thing I looked, it was 21-6. I was like, what happened? I was actually a little. I rarely, and y'all know this, I almost never pull for Dallas, but yesterday I was. I'm not going to lie. It would have helped. It would have helped us tremendously had they lost to you.
Yep.
Had they beaten you, and next thing I knew, it was 21-6, and it was funny. I was sitting in a group with some, we were all watching it, and they said, someone behind me goes, "Oh, looks like they're putting Trey Lance in," and I just chimed in out of nowhere. I was like, they could put in Joe Montana right now, and it wouldn't matter. There is no way Dallas was winning that game. Period.
Right. Yeah.
And I got a bunch of laughs from that, sitting at the little airport bar waiting on my flight to start.
Yeah, I think what you probably just missed, because it sounds like right around the time when they were driving, they were up. I know exactly what point in time you were talking about. Eagles were up 7-3. Dallas was driving. They got inside about the 15-yard line.
Right.
Handed it off to Dak, and he fumbled it 10 yards into the end zone. The Eagles recovered.
Oh wow.
Okay. It's Elliott, Geoff, not Dak.
You mean Zeke? Zeke. Yeah, Zeke.
Right.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we'll talk about Zeke. Yeah.
We stole that drive from him, and then the next time they were down in the red zone, they threw a pass, but that sun comes through the one end of the stadium so bright that CeeDee Lamb, it's coming right at him. There's nobody defending him. The Eagles have blown the coverage, and the ball just goes right into nowhere. And he can't
They spent like $50 billion on that stadium, but they can't figure out how to block the sun from that one.
That sun beam that shines
Was
right
it-
in the end zone every time of the game. You can't
Was
see
it
it.
was it Cooper Rush playing, not Dak?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
Okay.
Rush.
So
Yeah.
my question is, why is he playing and not Lance in the first place? I mean, I guess maybe
I'm not sure.
I
Lance
know
is
he's not
proven
very
that he
good,
should
but-
be.
Lance came in and threw an interception right quick too.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
didn't
Okay.
matter.
So he
Well,
did
one
come
thing
in.
about Cooper, I mentioned this earlier before you guys joined us, is he's got a 5 or 6-1 record as a starter coming in.
Right.
So the Cowboys are still trying to salvage their season without Dak.
they're
So,
waving the white flag in my opinion, but
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me though as the season goes on if they just see what they have
win
in
a few games.
Lance. You know,
They did come out today and said they're going to start Cooper Rush next week, but if
Yeah.
he doesn't pass for more than 40 something yards like he did last week, then they're going to be on the Lance pretty quick, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, for Washington, it's a good thing because we still play them twice.
Twice.
it is a good
I
thing.
mean, Dak is still better than Dak. I mean, I
True.
don't think I don't think they're that good anyway. But
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
last year they hung 50 on us with Dak. So I mean, I'm glad he's not playing.
Same
Yeah.
here. Dak
Yeah.
usually kills the
He
Right.
plays well against the Eagles too, for some reason.
Yeah, he lit us up. I mean, both games last year, but especially the game in Dallas. I think it was 56-14 or something. It was annihilation.
Getting
So,
back to that Ezekiel Elliott fumble that I was referring to,
I love
it's
that.
rare that you see a ball just come out of, like, he basically runs into a
Match.
mob, and the ball like ejects out like into 10 yards into the
I
end
think I
zone.
have seen.
So
I
whoever
think I have
punched it
seen
out
this
or
play.
whatever absolutely got all of the ball because it's just a big mob, and then suddenly the ball just ejects out of this pile. It was pretty funny.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, any other thoughts before we start diving into the big game Thursday night?
No, let's dive in.
Just in general.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So here we are, battling for the division. Same amount of wins, right? It's just the Eagles have one less loss, correct?
Correct.
So we're 7-2, and you're 7-3.
Right.
When
Yes.
is your bye week? It's got to be coming up pretty soon, right?
It's actually two more. Actually, no, it's actually 3 more weeks. We play.
Do we
we
go
play
Titans?
Philly. We play Philly, then Dallas,
Oh, okay.
and then the Titans, and then we have a bye.
That's
So
good.
you're gonna have like a
We
mini
have,
bye.
I think we have the latest bye in the league this year.
Oh.
The latest group of buys in the league.
Okay, that's good. Especially where you guys are playing right now. You know, I mean, even
Yeah.
if you lose, you're still going to be right there.
Right.
And then you have the bye, you know, to let everybody heal up. So you're going to have a mini bye week then. Speaking of buys, before you play Dallas, because you have a
Right.
few extra days off. So that's going to
Right.
help.
I don't think we need it for them, but I mean, I really don't. I mean, especially not without Dak, but
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Can I just say, I hate Thursday night football. I wish they would just abolish it.
I hate it too.
This game should be on Sunday night or
I
Monday
totally
night football.
I think this was probably the least schedule friendly to us. Playing the Steelers, who are coming off of a bye,
Yeah,
and then just 5 days later, Philly on Thursday.
playing at the link.
Who
Yeah,
just
they
absolutely.
didn't do us any favors.
They didn't
with
really
that.
have to do anything versus Dallas either.
Yeah, it's true. But the Eagles are traveling back though, so it's
That is
actually
true. So,
you guys are
True.
traveling back.
That's
Eagles are
true.
traveling back.
Yeah, I just don't this game. I don't like Thursday night football anyway. I think it puts the teams at a big disadvantage.
Yeah.
Can't get healthy.
It's just a money grab, really. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh yeah. That's what all these European, the ones I don't mind Thursday. When you compare it to these international games, I'd much rather have Thursday night games that are in the United States. I can't stand these games that are in England. And Eagles had to go to Brazil, and you had the one just recently in Germany.
That's true.
I'm like, get your own football league. This is ours here. You guys love the NFL so much. Start your own league. Those are the games that drive me nuts. But
Never happened, dude. It's all about
Thursday night games. At least this year, the Thursday night games have been pretty competitive. A lot of times they're just, Joe Schmo team versus
Three
Joe.
to
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like it's always Titans against Colts or some
I know.
some scrub matchup like that.
And it
I
ends
think
up being like
Bezos
9-3.
I think
Yeah,
Bezos called the
Jaguars against
So Amazon must have upped their ante
mhm.
and said,
I don't
"Hey,
think
all about money.
Bezos called Kamish and was like, "Give me some good games."
Right.
So
But
I
it-
totally
I mean,
agree.
to be fair, at the beginning of the year, we didn't know this would be a good game. I mean, we could have been 3-7 instead of 7-3. I mean, the over under for the year for Washington in Vegas was 6.5. We've already beaten that, and there's still 7 games left.
Did you bet it? You bet the over?
No, I don't bet.
We
I
were
can't.
talking about it actually, though, weren't we?
What's that?
What didn't we have a conversation about let's put like $100 on that.
Yeah, you're a freshman in college, bud. you don't have $100 to bet on football.
Yes, sure.
You're trying to go get a good grades and go. But no, I thought 6.5 was low. I really did.
Yes.
But I mean, if Jaden Daniels had played like Bryce Young last year, then 6.5 would have been about right. He's playing as well as any rookie QB in damn almost near league history.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's literally he's even playing better than CJ Stroud from last year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, knowing what we know now, 6.5 was an easy over. I mean, proven that, but you don't know until you know. I mean, you don't know what the new additions are that they brought in. You don't know how Dan Quinn's going to be as a head coach again, and Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator again. Yeah. All of that we've hit on that very well. Every move that the new GM, the new owner, everything is, I mean, night and day difference from Ron Rivera and Dan Snyder and Eric Bieniemy and all the trash that they've gone out with. So no matter what happens, this year is almost like playing with house money.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
You better bet.
We can relate to the uncertainty too, because again, the Eagles for second straight year had a new offensive coach and new defensive coach.
Right.
So it takes some time.
It does matter. It does matter.
Figure all that out, make sure it's going to mesh, and sometimes it doesn't. Right now, the Eagles are playing really well defensively, and their offense is starting to get it together. So they're kind of peaking. I don't want to say at the right time. You always want to peak as late in the season as you can, but they're playing a lot better today than they were, say, 5 weeks ago. Right. I think the Eagles are starting, especially defensively. Like defensively, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, they are. I agree.
Do you think I would be wrong to say that there was a point in this season where Sirianni was like getting close to the hot seat?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, he was, for sure.
Like maybe like if they would have lost that Cleveland game,
he might have
where he's like doing the fans or like cussing off the fans.
That was the peak of it right there. And even after the Cleveland game, it was like, we were talking about that on the podcast and like, hey, I'm still in Sirianni's corner, but what the hell? Like, you've got to stop making these ultra aggressive, I forgot what the game was, but AJ Brown was out. Was it just a couple of weeks ago? AJ Brown was injured for the second half, and then you have Nick still pressing and going for it. I'm like, you don't have the guns that you should have on the field to be able to make this possible. So just kick the ball, kick the freaking ball. That's where we were at a couple of weeks ago. So 100%. But I think he survived that wave. And I think,
there's a train.
Whoa, somebody's like
the word.
Who's New York train track?
That was odd.
Yeah, that's me. It's I'll go ahead and mute you guys.
That's the commander.
Oh, that's okay. I was what the heck that was.
That's the Washington Express, boys. It's coming out. It's coming for you.
Great segue. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Speaking of that game, like Dan Quinn, right? He's already turned that team's focus on. Well, it's a great week to have a short week, fellas, to get that bitter taste out of our mouths. Right. That's what scares me the most about the Commanders. I almost wish you guys won, so that all things be feeling fat and happy. You guys be pissed off,
right?
And you're gonna be so focused on stealing one back now from Philly to set things right that it'll definitely be a knockdown, drag out fight on a Thursday night.
Right.
It's going to be exciting to watch. But I would have rather had you guys coming off a win so that we don't get your best.
That's a good point, actually.
Really good point, Matt. Let me just real quick, and then we'll talk about it. Is the injuries heading into the game right now? And I know it's early, but we got to go with these early lists because the game's on Thursday night. So for the Eagles today, now this doesn't really mean a heck of a lot. Really, it's going to be like Wednesday's practice or that it's going to matter. But Nakobe Dean, groin, Dallas Goedert, ankle, Darius Slay, ankle. Now, remember, I saw his injury in the game. He came back and played. And Devontae Smith is still fighting a hamstring issue. Bryce Huff with a wrist, but he practiced full. And Mailata is the big key for the Eagles because he's been out. He's our great left tackle has been out for like the last 5 weeks, and he was practiced for the first time today in full. So he might be 100% on our offensive line for the first time in over a month for our game here Thursday night. For the Commanders, and you guys maybe talk about this. Lattimore did not practice today. So what are you guys hearing about Lattimore? Do you think he might play Thursday night? You think he's going to miss another week?
I was going into Sunday thinking he was going to play, but now that I see he didn't practice, I thought initially the issue was just getting him ready for Philly. But also, I don't think that's a Dan Quinn kind of strategy. Because I also thought Brian Robinson, I'm not sure if he practiced, if you have that on the list.
I'll give you the rest. So did not participate. Got Lattimore. This is today's practice, by the way. Marshawn, well, of course it would be today's. Marshawn Lattimore did not practice. Nick Ballore, linebacker.
Man,
I don't know if he's a starter or not.
not at all.
Your kicker is still out. He didn't practice either. Siebert.
Right.
Our backup kicker actually nailed too.
He did well.
Which was pretty surprising. So
your limited participation today was Tyler
Biadasz.
Brandon Coleman.
Okay.
That's
Cleveland
2/5
Farrell.
of our starting O line. That doesn't make me happy. Jalen
We got another one.
Jalen Carter is licking his chops right now. That scares
Do you
me.
see Brian Robinson on there?
Yeah. What about Robinson?
We got Cornelius Lucas, who was limited. Brian Robinson, I know he's been out for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
He's limited.
That's
still.
why I wanted to go off my other point. I was kind of under the impression that Robinson maybe could have played Sunday, but they're kind of making sure he's ready for Thursday. But if he was limited,
Yeah, he's limited.
I mean,
And
okay.
We actually thought that they might be sandbagging Robinson a little bit for an AFC game on Sunday because obviously Thursday's way more important.
Yeah.
And it's only I mean, if he was like 80% and this was the last game of the year and it was for the title, they probably would have played him. But knowing that he was limited today, it kind of goes against that thought.
Right.
Yeah, limited today, and the last one limited was Andrew Wiley, again, offensive line.
Yeah, our O line is banged up, and this is not the week I want to be playing against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and et cetera.
Full participation was outside linebacker Dante Fowler, quarterback. Geez, this is worse than my last name. Igbenanyi.
Igbenanyi.
I say Noah.
We call him Noah I. Because nobody wants to try to pronounce that name.
And then Jordan McGee, linebacker. So the guy you're talking about is not shown on the list at all.
Okay.
So I guess that's a good sign.
I would say Robinson is – I don't know if you guys remember the Thursday night game 2 years ago where it ended in the dramatic Heineke penalty, like on the roughing or the unnecessary roughness when he went down.
Yep.
That was a game where Robinson was that was probably one of his best games of his career.
It was.
But I think going into this Thursday night with Eckler and we have McNichols, he's not as big of a factor. But if we had him, I would definitely feel a little more confident in the offense.
I definitely want Robinson.
Especially on first down.
Robinson's a hard runner. He runs hard. I like watching that guy play. And he's a good kind of good compliment to Eckler, who's more of a kind of out of the backfield hybrid type running back, But Eckler's always had a nose for the end zone. That guy knows how to score.
He does.
He's deadly in the red zone. Always has been that way.
Yeah,
we need to figure out how to catch punts. Our boy Muff too, and one cost us 7, and that probably cost us the game.
I mean, I will say the Steelers did have that really funky fake punt, and then they dropped it. So that I would say that kind of canceled.
Almost
offset.
It did offset.
Yep.
Yeah, I think B-Rob is a huge part of your offense because, especially, can the O-line block for him enough to get some ground pound going against that Eagles line? Maybe, maybe not. But B-Rob will definitely pound it regardless. The Eagles haven't seen a back like him yet.
Yeah, I'm real hopeful that he plays. Yeah,
Yeah.
very hopeful.
All right, let's get into our keys to the game segment. So we'll start with you guys. If Washington is to be successful on Thursday night at the link, what are you going to have to do to win the game?
I'll start offensively.
Good.
We need to throw the ball like we have been. Get Terry, no Brown, all those guys involved early, especially Ertz. And like these plays last week where we had like these screens, nothing was working for us. But this like throughout the season, we've had these design screens and everything like those kind of off the script plays. We need those to land because that's kind of our key to the offense right now.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And I'll say definitely the run game as well. We can't be giving you guys a good field position also offensively.
Yeah.
Yep. Johnny, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, special teams turnovers are killers. I mean, you can't do it. You can't do that. I mean, period. Even against okay teams, but especially not against good teams. Got to control the clock. I mean, Washington has before this past game they have punted less than every team in the NFL. I mean, that's an amazing stat. They went two full games in a row without punting one time earlier in the season. They didn't score touchdowns on all of them. There were too many field goals being settled for, but staying on the field, getting third down conversions or staying in front of the chains is key. And I don't know that they can do that consistently without Robinson because his 5 yards of carry is key to keeping, going 2nd and 4 instead of 2nd and 9. And that's gonna slow the pass rush now. That's gonna slow down Jalen Carter.
Right.
And company.
I
think to me that's really the key is sustained drives. I mean,
yep.
Not no three. As few 3 and outs as you can get, and you're obviously going to be dealing with a rabid crowd.
Well, that's the thing about the Eagles' offense, kind of what you're alluding to. You want to keep a team that's got the offensive power the Eagles have off the field as much as possible. Possession is always key. The thing with the Eagles is, from our perspective, they're so Jekyll and Hyde this year. Like, yeah, they'll make these great drives where they'll three plays for 70 yards and a touchdown, and then they'll go 4 straight, series of 3 and outs. So, from an Eagles fan, we like to be much more consistent than they have been. But yeah,
we need to, like you said, you have those 3 plays, 70-yard drives. That's where we need to limit the explosive plays.
Yeah.
Keep them behind or keep them in front of the safeties, obviously. And I mean, assuming Lattimore plays, I think we have a much better chance stopping those 2 big receivers, obviously, and Smith and Brown. But I mean, if he doesn't play, it's going to be rough. We're going to have to basically keep scoring.
Yeah, outscore, right?
Yeah, it's going to have to be an outscoring type of game, shootout.
St. Juice.
Yeah, no.
I always bring him up for Johnny.
He should be called Saint Toast recently.
I think he actually. I don't know if you saw him on the injury list, but I thought he might have gotten hurt in that game, towards the end.
He wasn't on the list, at least today. Yeah, I don't know, but Lattimore actually, he seems to always pick off Hurts. I mean, whenever they play the Saints, he always picked off Hurts at least once. So he's definitely.
I think it's a great pickup. I mean, as long as he can stay on the field.
I think he's great. I would bet on it. He's going to play.
Yeah. You think so?
Yep. I think he's going to play. I think.
Yeah, I do too.
They to assume, obviously, just for podcast purposes too.
Yeah, you can't go much on. I just read the injury report because we don't have much time between now and Thursday. But really, what shows today doesn't really mean a heck of a lot. What's going to really matter is what's showing on that list Wednesday.
Yes,
that'll be tempting, and
that's true.
they're probably held out Lattimore, especially for the Eagles game, and probably Robinson too. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Now you mentioned Evan about because something to think about. This is, I believe, Matt. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. This is going to be Zach Ertz's homecoming.
First time back in Philly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
didn't think about that either, actually.
I don't think he played at the link. The Eagles have played him when he was in Arizona, but
Right.
the Eagles are on the road. They played
Not
him.
a league.
So this is gonna be Zach Ertz's first game
He's going to be jacked.
at the link.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I thought I heard a stat yesterday that Ertz moved into 6th place all time in receptions for tight ends, or maybe I'm misquoting that, but
I think you're probably right. He was
I'm sure.
5
I'm
years
sure it was,
setting Eagles records for receptions.
yeah,
Catching over 1,000 yards, 100-something receptions, 90-something receptions.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard that stat yesterday that he passed, I don't know, Shannon Sharp or somebody for 6th place and no total receptions for.
Yeah, he's had a great.
He has
career.
really had an amazing career.
He's a class act too. Really
Yeah,
class act.
right.
He's a huge fan favorite for the Eagles. So even though he's coming in with that burgundy and gold uniform, I'm sure the Eagle fans are going to give him a big time.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll cheer. They'll give him a cheer. And
sure.
during the game, I'm sure they'll probably boo him. But
Yeah, I
sure
mean,
it's
right.
like-
They obviously don't want him to,
Yeah.
catch 8 passes and 2 touchdowns, but
right. So yeah, just thought about that. It's a nice little sort of subline to the sub story to the game.
Mhm.
Matt, you want to give the an Eagles key to the game?
Yeah, I think the key to the game is, can the Eagles play disciplined gap control and keep Daniels on the inside? They haven't played anybody like Daniels this season. So does he break free? Does he add some run game that Philly hasn't seen yet? And with our young defensive line, are they able to handle that? I'm sure Vic will have a plan, Vic Fangio, but it's a different thing when you're asking them to stay disciplined to make sure they don't give up any of these running routes for Daniels to take advantage of. I think that's the key to the Eagles defense. I think they match up well everywhere else. The cornerbacks, our young corners, are playing awesome. So
Yeah.
I don't, normally Terry McLaurin would catch, 5 or 6 balls on us and maybe a couple of TDs, but I think we'll actually
Eagle killer, man.
Yeah, I think we will handle him okay. I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels versus that defensive line.
Yeah.
When our backs are turned and we're playing coverage, are we remembering that they have a mobile quarterback that can take it 80, 90 yards on his own? So that to me is the key. I think everywhere else the Eagles match up pretty well. That and B-Rob, actually. If B-Rob gets going and they're able to just consistently pound this defense, and if they're chasing Jaden Daniels all over the field, then they might get gassed. So that I think would be the key for the Commanders to win, and for the Eagles to win, they've got to stop that and be smart. So
I'd say I'd add one more.
They need to watch exactly what Pittsburgh did yesterday, because Daniels only had 3 carries for 5 yards. That's
He did mention
his least rushing game of the year.
I think he did mention in a press conference that the rib is still kind of irritated.
Yeah,
from a few weeks ago.
He may not be 100%.
I think this is a game where he's a fighter. He's going to go out there and put it all on the field.
I think both teams are going to be amped for this. So I think if you're 80%, you're at 100% for this game.
I agree.
They'll shoot him up with something in the rib cage. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Although the rib cage is a very tricky injury though, because that's something that it doesn't take much to get that thing aggravated again. In that area.
Agreed.
But hopefully he's fine. We always like to play, like even the Cowboys. I would have much rather Dak played yesterday than not, because you want to play these teams at full strength to see where you really are. But hopefully Daniels is 100%, and Robinson plays. I just like to see the Eagles look like they're about as close to 100% as they've been all year health wise.
Right.
And if Washington come into the game pretty close to that, then
Awesome.
that's really what you want. So Matt, those are 2 good keys. I was just looking at the Eagles schedule. The only kind of rushing running back that the Eagles faced this year was Daniel Jones. So I mean, he's good in that sense. As bad as a quarterback he is, he's good. Eagles were able to contain him, but Daniels is a whole different ball of wax because he can actually throw the ball.
Yeah.
Daniels definitely presents an issue. I think it's good for an Eagles fan perspective that game tape is out there now for what Steelers just did last week or yesterday.
Yeah, they were what's the word, disciplined and they didn't let him get outside.
Yeah.
If the DNs crash and Jaden sees it, that's 30 yards or maybe 80, like you said, Matt.
That was the first time Jaden has really gotten pressure coming to him consistently throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
We were a little banged up on the O-line side, but I think if your guys' pass rush kind of plays up to what the Steelers did, then I think you should be able to contain him pretty well and probably get to him a few times as well.
Yeah, well, we don't have there's no TJ Watt on the Eagles to worry about, but I think from an overall defensive pressure perspective, the Eagles can hopefully get some pressure on him. My key to the game is the guy that always burns the Eagles. I already mentioned him. Scary. Now, that being said, this is the first time that I'm probably more confident in Eagles being able to contain him than in years past, because our two rookie picks have made a huge difference in our defensive success this year. As Mitchell looks like he's the goods. I mean, we were talking about before you guys joined us. You look at Eagles' schedule; they've almost every single week played a top 10 wide receiver, and he's sharing responsibility with Slay, but he's still covering these guys, and he is. I hate to jump to say this term this early, but I started to. He is becoming a shutdown corner in his rookie season. Now, hopefully, I'm not jinxing him for his matchup against McLaren. I'm sure he's going to line up against him, from time to time. But he has. He's CeeDee Lamb, right? What's his name there? Jamar Chase. Okay. Neighbors. The Saints, Olave. Packers. The Falcons.
The Vikings?
What's that?
Have you played the Vikings yet?
I've not played the Vikings. No, they don't play the Vikings this year. Now, listen, I'm just saying he really looks like he's going to be the goods. And then we have Cooper DeJean since he joined the team. He's only been playing a month. He missed the first half of the season with injury, and he has made a huge difference because the Eagles were really lacking in coverage, especially with their linebackers and their third corner, their slot corner, and he's been their slot corner ever since, and he's completely shutting down the slot guys. So, and he just adds a lot in terms of tackling, just in general, tackling the running backs, tackling these, the plays out in the flat. He's been.
We gave you him, by the way.
Thank you, Washington. Thank you.
We gave you him.
Yes, if it wasn't for those of you who are not aware, the reason why we got Cooper DeJean is the Eagles made that trade to move up in last year's draft in the second round, and the team that they traded with was Washington. So thank you guys. Appreciate that.
Now, with those 2 second-round picks we got, one of our second-rounders, Mikey Sandristil, it was also a slot corner.
Yeah,
he's
good.
He's going to be a great player. Now the other second-round pick, we picked a tight end that hasn't really done a whole lot.
Oh, I like that tight end though. I like that guy.
Senate, but he's caught like 5 passes all year. I mean, he has.
Maybe that hurts. I think it was a
I think that guy's got ability though. I think he's.
Yeah, I mean, it may be too early to say if he's good or not, but we got your 2 seconds for our higher second.
Good. Well, maybe it was a good trade for both teams.
It could have been. No, I mean,
it could have been to make that trade up to get him. I remember they had the leapfrog. I can't remember whether they had the leapfrog, but the Rams, the Eagles really thought, because there's like video of this, that actually behind the scenes, the Eagles really thought that the Rams were going to take him. And once the Rams passed on Cooper, Howie immediately gets on the phone and talks to them, because I guess the Commanders had like a working deal in place, depending on if Cooper was there.
If he was there, right?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to work out for both teams, but we're happy as a pig and for Kevin Cooper, man. He's Cooper and Mitchell right now. And you guys, maybe if you haven't watched them yet this year, you'll obviously get an upfront view of them Thursday night. How good these guys are. I mean, unless McLaren toasts him. I mean, we were just talking about it again before you guys jumped on that. At some point, Mitchell's going to get probably smoked by somebody because he's a rookie. You don't expect him to go through his season against all these number ones and not get burnt, but he has not. We're 10 weeks in now.
Hey, all I'm saying, Terry's having his probably best season. I mean, he's got his quarterback.
Yep.
And he's having his best season. I think yesterday, I think he might have had his best game. Definitely of the season, if not in the past few years.
Yep.
Well, listen, I'm a huge McLaren guy. Not only does he kill the Eagles, I just always liked him. And he's a guy, like, to your point, he's never really had a quarterback, or at least a consistent quarterback to work with. Every year he's got a different quarterback, and he puts up numbers. And even with the bad quarterbacks or the guys that aren't, a Daniels, franchise guy, potential
consistent 1,000-yard seasons,
he still kills the Eagles. It doesn't even matter who's throwing to him. So we'll see. We're hoping we can finally shut him down. That's my key to the game, by the way, is to contain Terry McLaurin, keep him on the end zone. Any other keys to the game? Anyone else to share? What do you guys think?
Yeah. We've had some trouble scoring in the red zone. I think if we blow a few third downs or turn the ball over in the red zone, that's going to be a big thing to make sure we get 6 every time we're there. No 3, no exception.
Okay. Yeah, red zone efficiency is always key, especially in these divisional games, but just in general. So, yeah, and the Eagles do a pretty good job. They're kind of like, well, it's not so much like the Gannon defense, which was almost always just stop. They would basically give up big plays until they get to the red zone. Then suddenly, Gannon's defense was specifically designed to shut down teams within the 20 yards, ratio. Fangio's defense is not quite that. We're
not that loose.
Not that we're not between the.
It's kind of a bend don't break defense.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. It still has a little bit of those elements in there where they really crack down inside the 20, but they're better, more efficient, better, outside of the 20s, I guess is what I'm saying. But red zone efficiency is always key. And the Eagles, Matt and I, we're always like harping on the Eagles getting away from the tush push all the time because it takes away the Eagles' creativity on offense when they get inside the 5, for example. It's like they just run the tush push and think they're going to get in all the time. And I think they don't run anything else. So
I think that's one more key to the game is going to be those coaching decisions that get made between Dan Quinn, who I would have more faith in not making a stupid decision, versus Nick Sirianni, who could possibly make a stupid decision and go for it when they shouldn't, and they should have punted. And I could see that coming into play. So I'm going to pray that Nick Sirianni plays smart, makes a smart game, but Quinn, you don't have any doubts. He's going to make the right call every time. So that might come into play as well.
Could. It definitely could.
Speaking of coaches, I think Quinn's been pretty lights out, and definitely our offensive coordinator Kingsbury has called some pretty great games.
Be a fun matchup to watch Kingsbury versus Vic Fangio. Like that's going to be exciting to see. And I think we'll find out pretty early who's going to be successful there, and then who can adapt after halftime. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, halftime adjustments. The Eagles crowd will be fired up for sure. I mean, they're going to be ready, rocking and rolling for sure, even on a Thursday.
The Lake's going to be a great place to be for you guys.
Yeah, it's always going to be an awesome atmosphere. Divisional rival coming in. Really, the game that everyone has been looking at for the last month. Really, in terms of what looks like the cream of the crop of the NFC. It's kind of nice to be at the top of the division. I know Eagles have been there more often than Washington, but for you guys, it's got to be great seeing how the division is, the Giants and Cowboys are now behind both of us. And now
they're both I said, moving the white flag.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to Johnny, but hopefully he's able to come back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know where he went.
But so it's all up to you now. Evan, you gotta carry the Washington flag here. Few minutes. So,
right. So, what's the score? What are we looking at for scores?
We're gonna get into predictions.
Like I said, probably shootout. I'd say I'd lean maybe. I want to be optimistic, and I will. I'll go 31-28. Washington.
I like the score. I'm thinking similar. I'm thinking the exact same thing, but I'll just flop those scores.
Flip it?
28
Okay.
Eagles.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, so hang on. I'm writing these down, man. These are official predictions. So,
So
Evan, you got 31-28 Washington? Is that what you said?
gotta be
Okay.
optimistic. Have to.
Okay. Hey, man. I mean, there's no doubt Washington can win this game. I don't think that would surprise Matt or I if that happened. Plus, you've always played the Eagles tough anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, regardless.
Yeah,
So
both Howell games last year were down to the wire. I mean, and
Right.
those were his two best games of the year. Were
In
against
the Heineke game, like I talked about Thursday night 2 years ago, pretty controversial call at the end. I know, Geoff, you were pretty mad about the missed face mask on Goddard. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you could say that a little bit.
Yeah.
Most obvious face mask I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No, Sam Darnold had the most obvious face mask of all time just a couple of weeks ago, right?
Well, that too. That was a good one.
That
But that guy
too.
in Washington actually grabbed Goddard's mask, pulled him all the way to the ground, and that's also
true.
ice top that Goddard got hurt on and missed the
I
next
was
four.
gonna say, yeah, he missed the next
And
3
on
games,
the
didn't he?
same play, the guy picked up the fumble because Goddard lost it, and he ran it in for a touchdown. So that's why that play absolutely aggravates me. In case you can't tell, Evan. Thanks for bringing it up.
So I'm sorry, my laptop crashed for a second. I didn't hear the predictions. So Evan was 31-28 Washington. Matt,
I'm gonna do the same thing. 31-28 Eagles,
Philly.
though.
Okay.
But I like the score because I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored.
Geoff, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go. I'm still giving it some thought.
I was going to go 31-23 Eagles.
Man, everyone loves the 31 number. That's my favorite number, by the way.
It's a great number to just kind
Hey,
of.
John, you know Greg Maddox, man. Greg Maddox, one of the best 31s in baseball history. Okay, so Johnny, you're picking the Eagles, Johnny.
I am. I don't have a great feeling about this one.
You have what was the score for Washington?
31-23.
23. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to unfortunately, kicking too many field goals these days.
You talk amongst yourselves while I'm trying to tab it.
Yeah, this always takes Geoff 10 minutes to figure out a score.
Minutes.
Hey, how many have you gotten right recently?
Actually, first of all, let me fix this. Let me change the screen. There we go.
Nice.
A little later the predictions come.
I predict
I stole my favorite number. All of you picked 31. I feel like I should automatically pick 31.
You might have to.
Yeah.
if you were smart, you would.
All right, I'll go 31. I'm just trying to figure out what I have for Washington. I mean, I just feel 31 is right around where I would be. So why not?
How about 34?
Yeah.
I like the 31 number.
No, I meant 34-31.
Oh, you mean
Yes.
you want? Oh, I see. You want Washington's number to be 31. And picking Eagles. I'll put that spoiler out there. It's just a matter of how much I think Washington's going to get here.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because if turnovers are going to be killer in this game,
Agreed.
Eagles give a silly ass turnover, then
Mhm.
Commanders I can fully expect are going to take advantage of it. Same thing. If the Commanders have a silly turnover that burns your soul, Eagles are going to take advantage of it. So both teams team football these scores
Like a muffed
Jaden,
punt.
Yeah.
Jaden has done a great job keeping the ball. And I think he only has like 2 interceptions on the season.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, for the first time in a while, I'll say this about Washington, and it's because of your quarterback, is I don't want this to be a close game and have him with the ball at the end because I've already seen how good he is in those moments this year. So I'm going to avoid all that and say the Eagles are going to win 31-20.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. E-line, O-line matchup, I think, coming through there on the Eagles side.
I just think the Eagles are playing really well right now. I think you're playing Eagles at the wrong time, honestly. Now, as I say that, it's not like the Eagles have played a bunch of juggernaut teams in the last month.
No.
And I'm realistic about that too. But sometimes you just need, especially when you have a young team, especially on defense. I'm talking more on offense. In offense, we have established vets, we have the established star power. But these guys have had the opportunity to get more playing time, to get up to speed. We're talking about like Cooper DeJean, especially some of these other guys that they've brought into the defense. Zach Bond is playing like an all-pro level this year. If you guys haven't heard about Zach Bond yet, you'll see him Thursday night, and that guy has been all over the place. And he was just a huge free agent pickup that they got from the Saints. So I just feel that the Eagles are just really playing well defensively right now in order to – and the tape that I talked about, hopefully they're watching that Steelers tape. A lot of times it happens. There's like that league, right? So I'm sure they're looking at what the heck the Steelers did yesterday to contain Daniels. Now, they don't have a TJ Watt, like I said. Hopefully they can be able to just kind of contain him, make sure he's not exploding for 40-yard runs. So, yeah, I kind of see the Eagles winning. I think it'll be close, and I think the Eagles will probably pull away in the third quarter. I think it'll probably be like halftime might be 17-13, something like that around halftime. It might be either way. It might be Washington leading 17-13 at halftime. And then I just see hopefully the Eagles in the second half just, pulling away. Especially if you guys
It was just 2 weeks ago you guys were playing the Jaguar. Weren't you guys up like maybe 22 or something? 20?
Yeah.
We can blow any game we're in.
Yeah, they give up 14 points in a matter of like 10 seconds.
Well, and we were up 2 scores in the third quarter.
Yeah, they gave up 14 points in that game in about 10 seconds. They gave up a touchdown, and then an ensuing play, that was the Barkley kind of mysterious fumble that they called, and they ran it back for a touchdown for like 60 yards. So, yeah, that game got close really quick. The Eagles definitely can be generous like that and give them the ball. So if that happens, then Washington's got every opportunity to win this game. And I wouldn't be shocked right now if Washington wins this game. I just think the Eagles are at home. They got to win it. This is a divisional battle. This is time for the Eagles to step up. Yeah. They're definitely the more talented team. I don't think you guys would even argue with that.
No, not at all.
Clearly. Yeah, the D-line and O-lines on the Eagles, I think, is where the clear advantage is over the Commanders right now. But that's where it's like, man, if Hurts ain't smart with the football, and if we give a couple opportunities away, that's what turns a game that should be a victory into a close one. And I don't want, like Geoff said, I don't want to see Jaden Daniels and 2 minutes on the clock, and they only need a field goal. I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
It's the kind of no-name guys on our defense that have just pulled through and made big plays, like Dante Fowler, 8.5 sacks on the season.
Yeah.
Newton, Chin, Sanders still. All these guys too.
And Jeremy Chin's a stud. Frankie Louvu's a stud too.
Frankie Louvu's probably the center stone of the team.
Yeah.
And it's just all these guys that come together one off season. It just seems so unlikely, but somehow we're out here playing some solid D, which, can't be too mad about.
Yeah. It's going to be an exciting game either way.
So here we go, guys. So
I still wish it were Sunday night, not Thursday night.
I hear you. I think we all do, John.
I really do. I just don't like Thursday night.
I don't particularly mind the Thursday night. I'll probably go to B-Dubs, get my BOGO wings, and hang out with my friends. And
this is probably a game because the NFL has started doing the flex scheduling. This is probably a game the NFL may have flexed a Sunday night if it wasn't a Thursday night game.
Oh yeah, I'm almost positive that's correct.
Philly late in the season probably has a chance.
That game right now is not a flex. That one might get flexed.
Yeah,
that could be a Saturday as well.
Yeah, because they'll both be there. I think they'll both be fighting it out right to the end.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, because the way
you still have Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Baltimore and we play the Rams, so the Rams are out there too.
Rams out there.
See, that's the advantage of the Rams. Like your schedule, you have a last place schedule, where the Eagles have a second place schedule, so that's going to work in your favor too.
Yeah, that's 2 or 3 games difference. We get
I mean, it's not a huge difference. You guys still played Baltimore, and you still played. Who else did you play?
Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
AFC
so we all have
North.
those games.
Yeah, we all played those 4. In terms of the other games.
The other games. Yeah, the other
We had
games.
Tampa week 1. I think if we played that later,
I know. I would love to have that Tampa game over.
Tampa's good.
no,
Tampa
Baker
looked
can
you too,
ball.
didn't he?
They're legit.
Baker can definitely ball. So I mean, that would definitely be another pretty good.
As an Eagles fan, I don't want to see Tampa anywhere in our.
You guys,
I agree. And that's like you said at the start of the podcast. That's a game that if it has to be a tiebreaker late in the season, they're going to take that, just like how the Falcons.
Yep.
So
Yep.
but the thing is, Tampa earned that. Like Atlanta didn't earn
I
it.
agree.
Tampa earned it. Hey, Tampa kicks our ass to match point all the time. I don't want to see Tampa Bay in the playoffs at all. It's like an automatic loss. They don't beat Eagles; they destroy us every time. Like,
Yeah, it's an
like,
ass.
if you want to, that's who. If I was Washington right now, I'd be on the phone with what's his face there, the head coach down there,
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowl,
Yeah.
right? I'd be talking to him because he knows how to shut down Jalen Hurts and his Eagles offense.
Yeah.
Totally, absolutely, he does. He's got all the secrets on Jalen Hurts. Hurts can't figure him out at all. His defense. All right, closing thoughts, and then we'll. Here's the thing before we get to the closing thoughts. So, are you open to a game recap? Thursday's gonna be late, so we can't do it Thursday night. But if you guys wanted to come on, Matt, when would you? Your schedule's always kind of tough to work around, but if we could all coordinate to maybe post game show.
I'm going to be out Friday, but Saturday I could probably do one if you're meaning to get it before Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to work with everyone's schedules. So
Are we thinking before Sunday?
Yeah, well, I want to do it as fresh as to after the
Right.
game as possible. So, like Friday night, I know you being in college there, fan, Evan, you might have some big parties to go to or whatever. But I mean, you don't have to be on the show the whole time either. But if you want to jump on for 10 minutes,
I could probably pop it on like Friday. What's a good time though for you guys?
Matt would be good. Like we could even do it earlier Friday, Matt. You drive home.
No, Friday won't work for me. I'm out
Okay.
Friday.
You're out.
Doesn't mean you can do it. I just won't be there for Friday.
Saturday during the.
What is that buzzing?
Hey,
Yeah, sorry. I think it's my phone ringing.
Yeah, I can do Saturday.
we can do anytime Saturday during the day. If you're not busy, Jeff.
Saturday during the day.
During the day would work.
Yeah.
No JMU game this weekend.
All right, we'll work on the kinks then. So figure at some point on Saturday, maybe early afternoon, we'll come on and do like a half hour, just a quick half hour recap.
Okay.
Works. Sounds
All right,
good.
sounds good. All right, closing thoughts, guys.
Have a hell of a game. It's going to be fun to watch.
It's gonna be a fun one to watch for
This
sure.
this will be your first of many with against Jaden. So
Yeah.
I'm real curious to see how it turns out.
The start of
Real curious.
We get to see him up close and personal now, so it's
Yeah,
good.
you've been hearing the hype. Let's see what it looks like.
yeah.
For sure.
I mean, hope is a
Yeah.
dangerous thing, as they say.
Pretty bad stat, or one I don't like to hear, is that we are 0-3 versus teams over 500
This year,
Yeah, that's an important one. Yeah.
that is an important stat. That's true.
Tampa, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. I mean, that's
7-0 versus teams under 500. But we have had some talented.
You've been close to those games, though. For most of them anyway.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And Quinn will have them ready. I think both teams are going to be ready. And like I said, I don't want to see Nick Sirianni do something stupid. I'll be so freaking mad.
I believe that.
Punt the ball if you need to punt it,
Right.
And he tends to be more aggressive when he's at home too.
Yeah. He's more aggressive. Plus, he might be thinking the same thing. I don't want Jaden Daniels to have the ball, so we're going to go for it. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
See that happening.
At least on a tush push, they got Mailata back.
I'd like to prevent 4th and 1s. Maybe we can keep it at like 4th and 2. We don't have to deal with that tush push.
And again, it'll be interesting with Zach Ertz coming home for the first time, just from our perspective, especially. It's just
Maybe he's due for a big one.
he might have a huge game. I mean, who knows? He might go off. I mean, like I said, the Eagles seem to do much better in coverage now than they have in the past years against tight ends. But still, Hurts is going to be motivated for sure. I'm sure the Eagles gonna, the Eagle fans are gonna get a nice round of applause when he comes on the field. He should. He deserves it. He's earned it.
But speaking of that, though, we also have Dotson playing
Oh,
us for the first
He's
time.
playing you for the first time.
Wide receiver 3 also.
You love it, guys. If he went off for 110 yards and a couple touchdowns.
I mean, it's something that's so very possible.
Well,
And
you
it
got
would
to
just eat away at me.
got to do something to justify that early third round pick.
Right now, there's no doubt. And really,
let's
because they
really-
don't use him enough. But right now, definitely you made out in that trade.
This is we really need Lattimore because that's who's going to be like on AJ Brown, and then our like lesser guys can hopefully run with Dotson and Smith. Yeah, but I could see like St. Juice on Dotson getting cooked a few times, and he's getting fired up, and St. Juice is like.
The thing is, though, Hurts hardly ever makes it to that number 3 read.
Yeah,
Smith are on the field, so he may not see it.
When your first 2 are as good as they are, he doesn't have to. And your tight end's a stud too.
Yeah.
he is.
Here's to a good game though, with no stupid ref.
Yeah.
I want to see
Controversy.
a call and then have the game will go one way or the other. I hope it's just like tooth and nail all the way to the end. And
Someone actually wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got an 11-point spread at the end of the game, but I think it's going to be a close game most of the game here. I think the Eagles – I see the Eagles pulling away a little bit late, but who knows? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this goes right down to the wire.
NFC East, it's going to be close.
Yeah.
Don't guarantee.
And FC East is back besides the Cowboys and the Giants.
Well, this is the ideal NFC East for me because I hate and despise the Cowboys and the Giants. So having them and this whole division flipped over, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's keep it right.
Perfect.
Let's keep it right.
All right, guys.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining the program. And
it was awesome. I had a blast.
Have a just for the audience out there. Looks like we'll have a post game. We'll all get back together and talk about the game on Saturday. Time yet to be determined. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future content. And until next time, gotta end it this way, guys. I'm sorry, but fly Eagles fly.
Hail to the Redskins.
You have to get that in there.
I did.
Who are the Redskins? Who are they? Wasn't that team that used to win?
That's
HTCC.
Don't the Commanders have a new song with Tutty or Captain Tutty? Isn't there a new jingle?
Major Tutty.
Major Tutty.
It's major embarrassment to me, but
Man.
Hey, that's the best mascot out there.
All right, guys, let's have a good game. Let's battle out for the NFC East and see who's got the early dibs on first place. We'll know after Thursday night. So, till next time, thanks for watching.
sounds good.
We'll catch you later.
See you guys.
Yeah. See y'all.